Whoa! This is the Illusion reporting from somewhere on Spaceship Earth. I'm at the home. I just made my gallery video, and I'm going to answer Willis's question now. Willis wanted to know how I got started in carpentry. Just so you know, I think I've made this video before somewhere out there in the 1,200 plus videos I have. I wouldn't know where to find it or what it's called, but here we go. Let's tell the story how I got started in carpentry. So I'm a late bloomer to it. I had how I get started in the world of construction is I'd moved back to Malibu in like 2002, something like that. 2003, I was broke. I was out of work. I had 25 bucks left in my pocket. I ran into this dude surfing who was a concrete cutter. And he asked me if I wanted to work the very next day. I have a super crazy story about that too. But anyway, I got hooked up with this dude. I was working concrete, and I was like an apprentice concrete cutter for like 3 years. And I was just about to kind of do my own thing and then work out really slow. And I ended up working for my buddy's shop, selling furniture and like linens and stuff, retail, for a couple years. And I got picked up a really bad drug problem because I hated my life so much, because retail is possibly the worst job ever if you're not custom made for it. And so I got out of that retail thing, and I was unemployed, and I was at my local bar, the Doom Room here. And I asked this dude, Don, if he had any work. And Don's like, yeah, dude, come and, I got a house to paint, right? And painting, it's not my jam at all. So I went with Don out to the valley and started painting this house with him. And painting, it's the worst. You either can paint or you can't, man. You have the mentality, you don't. Anyway, so I'm out there painting with Don. And his brother Rob, Don and Rob DuPont. His brother Rob makes carts. You know those carts you see at the mall, like where they sell stuff, like the little mobile like carts? He makes the installations that go on the carts with all the cubby holes and stuff. So he needed help taking one and installing it one morning. So I was painting this job, and I got a little extra work going and putting a cart into the mall, and I met his brother, and his brother shanghaied me out of this job to go do this remodel with him for the producer of the Carlos Santana album, this dude Casey. And this dude is a Baha'i. You know, Baha'i, it's a faith. If you don't know what Baha'i is, dude, check it out. I don't know. I'm not, whatever. And so this dude was a Baha'i guy, and he wanted us to take and make his attic into like prayer rooms, which required putting in a staircase and taking this attic that had nothing into it and making it into a prayer room. So this dude Rob was like, you're gonna work for me now. And I'd never done any carpentry, dude. Didn't know my ass from my elbow. So I'm with this dude Rob, and we're up in this attic doing this stuff, and Rob's one of these old school gnarly guys. Like I didn't know, like I said, I didn't know. So he's left-handed, right? So I'm using a left-handed circular saw, because it wasn't a skill saw, it was a circular saw. No speed square. This job I didn't even know about the speed square. He gave me a tape measure and a pencil, and he was just like crow's foot, mark, and cut. And he was like, dude, the table square, just cut it, dude. So I learned how this dude was just like very good at what he did and very manic. And it was me and him over at this house for like 6 months. And it went from the prayer rooms to this like making this dude's office. Then we ripped this roof up and did this expansion into this deck, and we built this giant deck, and it was full immersion, full with this crazy dude, like, and he's like, here, dude, drywall, do this, just do it. And I just didn't know any better than say no. Like, so that was the beginning of my carpentry thing, and it was just so this Willis was asking me, how do you do it? You just jump into the game, dude. You either can do it or you can't. So it turns out I had a knack for carpentry, man. And so I was working with this DuPont guy, but I was on Oxy still because I'd been picked up an Oxy habit working at the furniture store, dude. And I detoxed in the middle of this job, dude. It was horrible, man. And eventually, like, I think the dude vibed me one day and I walked off the job. Like, I'm one of those, like, you mess with me, dude, I'm out. So he just said something or did something, and I just was like, I'm done, bye, see ya. And so I worked for him for like 6 months, picked up a lot of stuff. So I went from there working for my landlord who had a job site going on with a bunch of my friends, dude. And that's its own story of insanity and fear and loathing on the job site. That's all I can say, dude. It was just straight Hunter S. Thompson Carpenter style. And I knew enough there, but I learned more from another dude. And in that job, I ended up going to work for this dude, Barry Warton. I worked for him for like 3 or 4 years, dude. And Barry was a bootlegger. And if you don't know what a bootlegger is, it's a dude who builds stuff without permits. Like in California, they're super permit heavy, but you can, in certain places that have a lot of tree cover, like Topanga, where you can get away with like not having permits and build stuff because it's just one of those sort of zones. So we did a lot of work up in Topanga, and Barry was a freestyler, no plans, but super good at what he did, man. And I learned a bunch from Barry, man. I was Barry's right-hand guy for a long time, man, and I learned a mountain of stuff from him. And so from Barry, I'm working for Barry, and then I get sober, man. I get sober, and I can't work for Barry anymore because Barry's jobs were too hectic, man. Because everybody was loaded, and it was all just these misfits and delinquents. And Barry was a full keep the job site messy kind of guy. He wasn't about rolling stuff up. So it was always tripping and stumbling over stuff. And I just couldn't do it sober. I couldn't work from sober anymore. I ended up walking off the job with Barry one day in the heat, dude. And he came and he was one of those dudes. I should tell some stories about Barry. They're pretty good, man. And I got good carpentry stories. I should start telling some carpentry stories. And so then I was not working. I was busy getting sober. And I ran into my buddy Seabass one day on the PCH, man. I was talking to my other friends. He was smoking cigarettes on the side of the P. We were smoking cigarettes because there was traffic. So we pulled over and we were hanging out talking. And Seabass came by and was like, call me if you want some work. And I started doing some work for Seabass. That was the second time I started working for Seabass. I don't know how I started working for Seabass the first time. But anyway, the second time I'm working for Seabass, that's when I met Bert. I'm working with Bert and Billy, and then I start this whole YouTube thing right around then. And then Bert was like a world-class framer, dude. So I started framing with Bert I worked for Bert for 3-4 years. And then I quit just the other years ago from Bert. Now I got my own shop where I do my own thing. And I worked for this other dude, James, for a while, man. And how did I get a hold of James? I went from Bert, I split that job. I forget how I get hooked up with James, but I worked for James too for a while. And so what I would tell you, Willis, is this is the thing with carpentry, man. You just got to get your foot in the door, dude. And it's all about showing up and listening and learning, man, and not being afraid, dude. It's all about hustle, dude. If you show up on time and you put in your 8, dude, and you can take the heat. Look, man, working on a job crew is all about getting hassled, like talking shit, man. Like you're gonna get hassled. And if you don't have a thick skin, dude, there's no point being on a job crew, dude. You're gonna have to like be one of those. It's a gnarly environment, dude, but it's good times, and you're allowed to like get into fist fights and stuff, which is cool too, man. It's part of the perks of carpentry and job site mentality is you can be crazy. You can be certifiably crazy. And look, dude, you just pick it up along the way. I don't think there's a manual. You either can do it or you can't, man. You can either do it or you can't. And it's hard work, but there's nothing cooler than building a house with a bunch of dudes, man, from ground up, dude. Like that's a cool vibe, man. And you get to do some cool things, dude. And look, and it's one of those things. It's a morphing type of environment. Like you just meet the next person in your deal, and you end up working for them, and then you learn some more, and you just get as much flavor as you can, and you figure out what you don't do. Like I will not drywall. I don't drywall, man. I've worked for a drywall buddy of mine, dude. I don't drywall. I don't paint. I don't do anything with brushes, dude. That's my trip. I don't do anything with brushes. And it's cool because here I am, you know, years later, like I got my own shop. I'm totally tooled up. Like, and then when I was working with that guy, Rob, in the beginning, dude, I didn't have a tool to my name, dude. I didn't start getting tools till the second job, dude, and I asked the guy what tools they need. So you need to get speed square and some bags and tape measure and a skill saw and, you know, the basics, dude. And I started out there, and then I worked for Barry, and he had every tool under the sun, so I didn't need any tools there. And if you brought tools to the job, they got absorbed into the job site and just turned into garbage. So you're better off not having tools with working with Barry. But look, it's one of those things. Your tools make money, so they're really not that expensive, dude. You can go get a Home Depot card, man, and if you do the thing, man, you go up, and I think over $300 is like it's for $1,000 on a Home Depot card, man. You can get all the tools you need and then some, like a table saw, skill saw, all the basics, chisels and basic tools. And a drill set and an impact gun and all that kind of stuff for $1,000, and you can have like a year to pay it off, dude. That's like $100 a month, man. Like it's really kind of that easy, dude. It's like tools really aren't that expensive. Like you make all your money back really quick. So those of you who want to get in the game, man, like if you're afraid of being a badass, dude, it's not a job for you, dude. But if you're down to be a badass, dude, carpentry's and construction is badass, dude. There's some cool stuff going on there, man. I love cutting up a big giant beam, dude. Like full intricate, like a lot of can't make a mistake. When I can't make a mistake, that's when I do my best work. It's when it's whatever. I guess that's the kind of guy I am. So Willis, man. That's how I got started, ass backwards, dude. Completely. And look, man, now I sell frames on YouTube. So who knows, man? It's a magical journey. And that's what it is it's a magical journey. Anyway, Willis, thank you for the question from the gallery.